Welcome back everyone. For today's video, we're gonna have a guide, a complete guide on how to analyze our game. No computers. Later we're gonna see how we can also use the engine. This game was sent by one of you guys. So the first thing you want to do is go through the game quickly. So we're gonna do that. Alright guys, I believe you can create your own system on how to analyze your own games. So the first thing we want to look for is any pieces that are misaligned, big blunders, a move that is not in your preparation, a sacrifice that you don't understand. You can even classify it as a tactical move, or maybe it was a quiet positional move that was out of your understanding. Okay, so let's go through this game. I'm going to make some notes. Also feel free to make notes on this game just to go through the process of analyzing it. We will break it down from opening, middle game, and end game. So, okay, let's go to d4, knight f6, c4, e6, knight c3, bishop b4, bishop d2. So far, everything is normal, has been played before. c5. I don't play the Nimzo Indian defense, which is with the knight here, and then the idea is to castle. But c5 is completely normal. c5 stand out to me, but okay. e3, b6, knight f3, a5. That was kind of strange, I gotta admit. If they play here, it looks like my bishop is getting trapped. It's completely fine because I can take this knight, but I would maybe make a note. I would make a note of like here. What is this move? Is it any good? a3, bishop takes on c3, d6, bishop d3. All right, it looks normal to me. Bishop a6. I might question my own move if I were making this move. What is the idea behind it? Because it doesn't look like a good diagonal if I was here, but okay. Castle, castle, rook e1, d5, b3. I have a lot of pawn tension. That kind of stands out to me. 94, bishop takes. We take back with the pawn. The knight has to retreat. Now we play f5. f5, I would be wary of any threats. I would be aware of any threats that come my way if they had a light square bishop. There is none, so this move is fine. f3, a takes and f3. Now, I would also question whether you can take this with the queen. I don't know. Maybe just hitting this rook. It looks a bit more aggressive. So also the notation is here, but I can also make a comment. Okay, maybe can you take with the queen? Right, so okay. Now d7, queen d2, knight f6. All right, this looks like a scary outpost, but I am fine if I'm playing black. Knight d4, queen d3. Okay, c takes on d4, bishop takes on d4, knight c5. I might question this move. Queen c3, knight d4. This whole sequence is kind of strange, isn't it? Bishop d7, repeating moves. That also can be in our list of moves that stand out. Rook a to d1, knight c5. Okay, queen c3, queen g5, g3, knight to e4. This is also about developing your sense of danger. If I'm playing white, I'm gonna switch it here. This bishop is on a beautiful diagonal. This knight is coming, and this queen is also looking at my king. That is scary. So I would try to do something to defend. Queen c2 doesn't look like a good move. Then knight takes on g3. All right, and then the game is going to end in a few moves later. So don't go anywhere. Stay here. So we're gonna come back to this game. Let's check out some principles that we can apply in every opening. So I added the pyramid of opening priorities. The first thing is we want to do is develop, take control of the center, and avoid premature attacks. Those are the first three things we should keep in mind.
So, okay, we develop our pieces. The knight, then the bishop, c2, c5, then the bishop, c2.
We reach move 10, and if I am black, I would question myself, am I happy with this position so far? Do I have any practical moves? they come naturally from this point. So you have some ideas. You can develop the knight. Now you want to complete development. King safety, right? The next level. Yeah, my king is safe, and then connect your rooks. Maybe developing your knight, I would get my queen out of the way, and maybe even bring my rook, so it will look at this queen. But yeah, anything is fine here. Okay, so we enter now the middle game. Now let's start with the analysis of the middle game. This is the really juicy stuff where games are won or lost. So we get rook e1, d5. I don't love d5 just because you should be improving your pieces before pushing pawns. Always improve your pieces before pushing pawns. Unless you have a really clear plan on what you want to do. But here it seems to me like black we're just winging it. But okay, let's continue with the game. Now we get b3. Okay, kind of defending this pawn, I guess. I don't understand it. Knight to e4. Bishop takes on e4. Okay, we take. And knight d2, f5. Okay, so far let's ask ourselves, am I happy with my pawn structure? Kind of. It's not perfect because this bishop is really out of the game. So if we go back here, rook e1, these four pawns are on the dark squares, and this is a light square bishop. Very good combination. But I would love it if this bishop was in this diagonal, actually putting pressure on these, on these squares. So the next thing, center control. Again, we improve center control with this bishop here. Developing our knight, that would be great. So next thing, piece activity. I'm gonna go back again here with the piece activity, and we don't have a lot of activity. So it's not the best phrasing, but we don't have a lot of initiative. That's another word for it. So okay, knight d7. We finally develop our knight. Now queen d2, knight f6. So the whole idea behind knight d2 was to rewrite the knight and to put it here on this outpost. I love that. Knight e5, knight e4, and then queen d3 looks dubious. So let's analyze it from White's perspective. What is this queen doing here? You're putting yourself into the attack, into the line of the attack of the bishop and of the queen. So I don't see why this is a rational move, right? So c takes on d4, and I guess you can just take here with the pawn. I wouldn't just take with the bishop because you have now, there might be some tactics here. I would be scared. I would be scared if I was playing white. So knight c5, attacking this queen, which looks kind of normal. But here you already have an outpost with black. Let's just go back. You already have an outpost with black, beautiful outpost covering many squares. So I wouldn't sacrifice this, not this one. I wouldn't sacrifice this outpost just to attack a piece that can easily be moved. So, but okay, queen c3, knight e4, and then the queen goes back. That's just dubious. Instead, you can just go here. Why don't, okay, you want to keep protecting the bishop that way? Yeah, you have more space. Another thing on consideration in your games. How much space do I have? Right? Am I using the space properly? Here, white, they think this square doesn't exist, and they just keep protecting the queen, the bishop in these two squares. So you have 64, use them. Okay, so bishop e7. Okay, finally getting the bishop into the game. Perfect. Knight c5, hitting the queen again. I don't, yeah, I just don't see the point. Queen c3, perfect. Yeah, you want to do this. Bring more pieces into the game. Piece activity is the next level, right? So now we're threatening to checkmate. Bishop and queen align perfectly with each other. Now we bring the knight into the attack. We're forking the queen. And yeah, we can sacrifice the knight because after a few moves, this is going to be checkmate. Okay, last game we didn't have a lot of meat to analyze in the middle in the end game, but now we have an end game. This was one of my games. I am up 2 pieces, actually 2 pawns, not 2 pieces. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 versus 5 pawns, and the rest of the material is about equal, right? The first thing we want to do in the end game, simplify when ahead. That's the first thing in our pyramid. So here I know that I can bring my king. That is also very important. Bring your king into the game. What I would love to do is take this pawn and yeah, maybe consolidate here on the queen side. So my opponent is offering me a rook trade. Yeah, I take it. I can take this because I know now that with enough pressure, I will be able to take this pawn and then push these pawns, right? So that is my plan. Then pawn promotion. Pawn promotion is going to be the next priority. So here I just have to coordinate my pieces. The next step, piece coordination, to win this pawn. And this bishop doesn't have a lot of squares. So this bishop is also sort of trapped, right? I guess there are ways the computer can find to get out of this. For example, here. And I guess I can do something like rook e7. I haven't checked with the computer, but I want to keep it simple and I can just win the pawn. So yeah, I just win the pawn. Bishop cannot really take. I just take back. So okay, and now this was smart. I thought this was smart, putting the rook here. So I have to kick out the rook away. And now rook h1, knight e5, rook h, okay, given a check here. That was great. I think the opponent offered me a draw. I was like, no, I'm winning. Why would I take the draw? King f6, defending my knight. So next priority, control of key squares and files. Now I have this control of this square, this file, and as well as this, right? The bishop cannot go anywhere. So that is important. Now b5. Rook e7. The bishop is trapped, kind of. So my opponent tries to get out of the way. Bishop is going to take on c6. So now the opponent has tactics, which I didn't see. So I missed that tactical motive. So I have this as skewer here, but it's fine. I'm still winning. I have pawn promotion, right? So I want to simplify. I don't really care about losing my knight. I want to promote my pawns. So later on, I ended up winning this game. So here I can also push a pawn with tempo, and I can still win this pawn. Here, the rest is a little bit of technique. You want to build the bridge, right? Yeah, maybe put the rook in front of your king, so now you can push these pawns, and that's what I did. I didn't do it with the best technique possible, but still, it was. I think the best move was to actually go here. But yeah, it's the same idea, the same actual idea, and then I can bring my king into this side of the board and promote to a queen. Yeah, opponent resign because there is nothing else to be done. Let's analyze one game using the computer. I am playing white here, so I have to defend this pawn, right? I go queen g2, which is a good move. According to the computer, it wants me to defend with the rook, which doesn't make sense to me because now my rook would be on a worse squares. Like I am here on an open file. I'm preventing this pawn from pushing, so it looks perfect to me. And now this is a blunder because now this is just a pawn for free, so I can take back. And I spend a fair amount of time thinking, do I take with the bishop or do I take with the knight? What would you take with? Because here, these 4 pawns are on light squares as well as my bishop. So I was thinking, where is my bishop going? I don't see a trouble or what do I do with this bishop anyway? And then if I keep the knight, maybe I have some tricks there. Maybe I can push g5. I have some play counter activity because here I am worse. I feel like I am in a worse position because this bishop is beautiful. My bishop is blocked by my own knight, so I don't have a lot of activity here. King safety. So okay, I take back with the bishop, which is a mistake. I didn't understand it until later. So stay with me here why this was a mistake. Here, instead of taking with the knight, it's the same idea. You have to take with the rook. So the whole idea behind taking with the rook and also taking here first with the knight is to actually protect this pawn. So I didn't see it. I didn't see it in the game, but that's what you're supposed to play. I'm gonna go back here to the game review. So here, I also missed this bishop f4. Bishop f4 attacks my rook, and now, according to the computer, the best move is to take this knight. And yeah, but I also was like, okay, I wanna play practical, and I'm going to, if they take this pawn, I'm going to try pieces. And okay, I'm still worse, but there is a lot of things to play. So I am losing this pawn, right? Which I miss completely, that I have to keep the bishop. So now my rook is under fire. First I trade. I also didn't want to blunder. If I put my rook here on f1, attacking the bishop, I blunder fork, right? I would have blundered a fork. So I go here to g1. Now my queen is under fire. I have to move the queen. The queen is defending the bishop. Perfect. So very practical move. Queen c1, rook c1, attacking the queen. But the computer says this is an inaccuracy. The computer wants me to go here and attack this. Okay, it makes sense. But in practical terms, I go, okay, I'm just gonna attack the queen and then take later, because now I have 40 seconds on the clock. I don't wanna just lose on time. That's the problem with computers. It's not gonna give you the best move. And now my opponent blunders. I'm gonna show you here the, okay, here. Queen d6, blunder. The same knight I wasn't supposed to save now wins the game. I can take this queen and my opponent resign. So what is the takeaway from this analysis in the game? The coordination, let me see if I can find it here. Here. So the coordination of this knight and the queen winning this pawn. So you have to think of long term. At least this analysis helped me, because sometimes the computer just gives you a calculation that no human can do. But at least here, okay, I can understand this. There is an alignment of these two pieces. You are supposed to protect this pawn. But at the same time, I go, okay, but my rook is here and my queen is here. Like, I'm fine. Yeah, I never also considered this move, bishop f4, right? Which is attacking my rook. So you have to see 3-4 moves ahead, and that wasn't very practical. So yeah, I guess you shouldn't take it too seriously, the computer analysis, and just play as practical as possible.